What up, fam? Welcome back to another lesson with Mr. Biza. And today's lesson, we're learning about the volume of a triangular prism. So let's jump into it. Triangular prisms. A triangular prism uses the same formula as a rectangular prism. So we're going to use the same formula, V equals big B times H. However, the base is actually a triangle. So the big B is actually going to be equal to the area of a triangle. So let's go ahead and look at our formula a little bit closer. Remember that when we have our formula V equals big B times H, the letter V stands for volume. The big B stands for the base of our shape. We just said it was a triangle. And the H stands for the height. That distance that's between our bases when we're talking about prisms. The height is the prism's distance between those bases. Alright, so let's go ahead and look at a couple of examples to help us solve these kinds of problems. Alright, so here we have our shape, our triangular prism. So whenever I'm trying to figure out the volume of my triangular prism, I like to start off by setting up my table. Alright, so our first step when figuring out our triangular prism is we have to write down that formula so we know what we're solving for. So when I'm looking for the volume of my triangular prism, I'm going to use the formula V equals big B times H. My next step is I'm going to plug in some values, so I'm going to do some substitution. So I'm still looking for the letter V. My big B, now this is the area of my base. This is called a triangular prism, so I know my base is going to be a triangle. So I have to look back at my formula charts and remember what is the formula for finding the volume or finding the area of my base. In this case, the area of a triangle. So the formula that we are going to use today is we're going to have our base times height, and then we divide that all by 2. So remember, this base right here is the bottom of our triangle. This height is how tall our triangle is. And then the H in our volume formula is going to be that distance between our two bases. So this last H over here by itself is the distance between our two bases. Alright, so let's go ahead and start plugging in some of those numbers. Alright, so I got the letter V stands for volume. Gonna write it a little bit bigger. The letter B stands for the base of our triangle, because remember all of this right here is talking about a triangle. So the base of our triangle, I look at my triangle. This flat part right here I'm going to say is my base, so it says 4 feet. So that part will be 4 feet. And then I'm going to multiply it by the height of the triangle. So I'm caught up in a predicament right here. I have 4 feet going up and down on this side, and then I have 3 feet going straight up and down perpendicular from my base. Whenever I'm talking about the height of a triangle, I always want to go 90 degrees from my base going straight up. So this 3 feet is going straight up. This 4 feet is going at an angle. So that is not going to be my height. I'm going to use the 3 feet because it's perpendicular from my base. It's going straight up from my base. So 4 feet is my base, and my height of this triangle is going to be 3 feet. And then when we multiply that, we're going to divide it all by 2. And the last part is finding the height of our triangular prism, or I like to say the distance between our two bases. So I have a triangle up here in the front. I could say there was a little triangle hidden in the back over here. Back here in the background. So the distance between this triangle and this triangle is 7 feet. So the height for that whole thing would be 7 feet. Alright, so now my last step after I've set it up and I've substituted, the last part is solve. All right, so let's go ahead and do some math. When we're solving this problem, we already substituted, so now we're solving. So the first step I did was 4 feet times 3 feet. So I have 4 times 3, that gives me 12, and then feet times feet, well, I'm multiplying two things that are the same, so I can rewrite that as feet squared. And we still have this divided by 2 on bottom, and times are 7 feet. So 12 divided by 2 gives me 6 feet squared, times are 7 feet, and my last step is I'm multiplying 6 times 7, which gives me 42, and then our feet squared times feet. So now I had 2 feet that I was multiplying, and I'm multiplying one more, so 2 and one more makes 3, so that's going to be feet to the power of 3, or feet cubed. Alright, remember, whenever we're doing a volume problem, our units are going to be cubed. That means to the power of 3. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a little brain break right there. While you're waiting, letting your brains cool down, why don't you go hit like and subscribe down below, because it really helps me out. Alright, so let's go ahead and try one more example so you guys can get extra strong on finding the volume of triangular prisms. Alright, so here we have our new triangular prism. So we have our triangle at the top, we have a triangle down here at the bottom, and that distance that's in between these two parallel triangles. So we know it is a prism. So when I'm trying to find the volume of our prism, the first thing I like to do is make my little table. So remember, the first thing I like to do whenever I'm solving these problems is to set up a table. So we're solving for triangular prisms. This is going to be my formula, and my formula is the volume equals big B times H. Alright, so after my first step of writing down my formula, I start working on substitution. Substitute. So the letter V, I'm still looking for the volume, so that's going to be the letter V. That's what I'm looking for. The big B stands for the area of the triangle, because this prism is a triangular prism. So instead of the big B, we're going to rewrite this as the base of our triangle times the height of our triangle divided by 2. So this is the part that's going to get confusing for me, because for my little b right here, for the base of my triangle, this triangle doesn't have a clear base for me to see. So I'm going to have to pick one of these numbers, either 9 or 12. I'm not going to pick the 8 because this is not connected to my triangle sides. It's the distance between the two triangles. So I'm either going to pick 9 or I'm going to pick 12 in this problem. So in this problem, let's go ahead and make 9 as our base, and whenever I'm looking at the height, the one that's 90 degrees perpendicular from my base would be this angle right here, this side. So that means 12 was going to be my height in this problem when we're trying to find the area of our triangle. So V equals the base of our triangle times the height of our triangle divided by 2. And then the last part would be, for finding volume, is multiplying by the height, the distance between our two triangles. So last step is to go ahead and solve. Alright, so let's start plugging in those numbers. I'm still trying to figure out what V is. We said we're going to choose 9 centimeters as our base. I'm going to multiply that times 12 centimeters because that's perpendicular from our 9 centimeters. We divide all of that by 2. And the last thing is we multiply it by the distance between those two triangles. So from this triangle at the bottom to this triangle at the top, the distance is 8 centimeters. So we're multiplying all of that by 8 centimeters. Alright, so let's go ahead and work on that math. So let's go ahead and look at the problems, or the steps that I took to solve this problem. So when we're solving it, after we substitute, the first step I wanted to do was I'm multiplying this 9 centimeters and this 12 centimeters. That gives me 108 centimeters squared, because centimeters times centimeters, that's 2 centimeters that I'm multiplying together. So that's centimeters to the power of 2. Then on my next step is I wanted to divide that by 2. So 108 divided by 2 gives me 54. And then I finally have the distance between my triangles. I'm multiplying 54 centimeters squared times 8. I had to do some side math over here. It's always good to set it up if you can't do it in your head. 54 times 8 ended up equaling 432 centimeters to the power of 3. 432 centimeters cubed. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and you guys are going to go ahead and practice on some of these problems. I hope this helped. If you found this video helpful, be sure to hit like and subscribe. And until next time, bye!